Welcome to Calm Mind English. Some days, you do not feel lazy. You feel crowded inside. There are too many things to fix, too many habits to build, too many versions of yourself you think you should become. You wake up and already feel behind. Before the day even begins, your mind starts showing you everything that has not been done yet. Maybe there is a room you wanted to clean. Maybe there is English you wanted to study. Maybe there is exercise, money, work, family, health, sleep, messages, plans, and all the small things that keep waiting for your attention. At first, you tell yourself, today will be different. Today I will get everything back under control. But then the list becomes too large. The more you think about changing your life, the harder it becomes to move your body. You sit at the edge of the bed. You look at your phone. You check one small thing, then another small thing, and suddenly the morning is already moving without you. This is not always a lack of motivation. Many times, it is the weight of trying to change everything at once. When the mind hears a big promise, it often feels pressure before it feels hope. It sees the distance between where you are and where you want to be. That distance can feel too wide. So even when the goal is good, the body may resist. You may want to become more disciplined, more focused, more patient, more organized, and more confident. But wanting all of that at the same time can make the first step feel heavy. A person can lose energy before they even begin, not because the task is impossible, but because the picture is too large. Think about a simple morning. Someone wakes up and says, "From today, I will change my whole life. I will wake up early, work out, eat better, study English, stop wasting time, clean a house, be kinder, save money, and build my future." There is nothing wrong with any of those dreams. They are good dreams. They may even be necessary dreams. But the mind does not only respond to what is good. It also responds to what feels safe and possible. If a change feels too big, the mind may quietly step back. It may protect you from the pressure by pulling you towards something easy. A screen, a snack, a small distraction, a task that does not matter as much. Then you feel disappointed. You think, "I knew what to do, but I did not do it." That disappointment becomes another weight. Now the day is not only full of tasks. It is also full of self-judgment. This is where many people get stuck. They think they need a stronger plan, a bigger schedule, a more serious decision. But sometimes the answer is smaller. Sometimes you do not need to change the whole day. You need to choose one small thing you can return to. One small thing is not impressive. It may not look powerful from the outside. Nobody may notice it. Nobody may praise you for it. But it has a quiet strength. It gives your day a starting point. The small thing might be opening your notebook for 5 minutes. It might be drinking water before coffee. It might be making your bed. It might be walking outside for a short time. It might be reading one page. It might be writing one sentence in English. The action itself is small. The meaning behind it is not. When you do one small thing, you are telling your mind, "I can still move. I do not have to solve everything before I begin." This matters because many people wait until they feel ready. They wait for a better mood, a clearer plan, a cleaner room, a free weekend, or a version of themselves that feels stronger. But life rarely gives perfect conditions. Most real change begins in an ordinary day with ordinary energy, in the middle of ordinary problems. A small action does not ask you to become a new person immediately. It only asks you to touch the direction you want to move in. That is why it can work when big plans fail. A big plan can make you feel like you are standing at the bottom of a mountain. A small action gives you one stone under your foot. You do not need to see the whole path to take one step. You only need one step that is real enough for today. Imagine someone who wants to become healthier. Every few months, they promise themselves a complete change. They buy new food, make a workout plan, watch videos, and imagine a better body. For 2 days, the plan feels exciting. Then life gets busy. One night of bad sleep happens. One stressful day comes. The plan breaks. After that, they feel like they failed again. But another person chooses something smaller. Every morning, before anything else, they drink one glass of water and stretch for 2 minutes. It feels almost too simple. At first, nothing changes in a dramatic way. But after several days, the action becomes familiar. After several weeks, it becomes part of the morning. The body starts to understand that the day can begin with care. The small thing becomes a door. Through that door, other changes become easier. Maybe they walk a little more. Maybe they sleep a little earlier. Maybe they choose food with more attention. The first action did not fix everything. It changed the direction. Direction is often more important than intensity. Intensity can rise quickly and disappear quickly. Direction can stay quiet and steady. This is why one small thing every day matters. It lowers the pressure enough for you to begin. Then it gives your mind evidence that you are not standing still. And evidence is powerful. A person who keeps breaking big promises may stop trusting themselves. They may think, I always start and stop. I always say I will change, but I never continue. That belief hurts. It makes each new attempt feel weaker. But one small action can slowly rebuild trust. When you do what you said you would do, even in a tiny way, your mind receives a different message. You kept one promise today. That promise may be small, but it is honest. It is something your real life can carry. Many people underestimate honest small actions because they are not exciting. They do not give a quick feeling of transformation. But your life is shaped less by one dramatic decision and more by what you repeat when no one is watching. The morning you open the notebook for 5 minutes. The night you put one thing back in its place. The moment you choose to start before you feel perfect. These actions are quiet, but they are not empty. They teach your mind a new relationship with effort. Effort does not have to feel like punishment. It can feel like returning to something simple. You can begin with one small thing because the goal is not to impress yourself today. The goal is to make movement possible. When movement becomes possible, the day changes shape. You may still have many problems. You may still feel tired. Your life may not suddenly become clean, organized, and easy. But you're no longer completely frozen. You have one point of contact with the life you want. One small action becomes a quiet line between your present and your future. That line may look thin today, but if you draw it again tomorrow and again the next day, it becomes stronger. This is how direction changes. Not always through a loud decision, often through a small, repeated return. So today, do not ask yourself how to fix your whole life. That question may be too heavy for an ordinary morning. Ask yourself what one small thing you can do before the day gets away from you. Choose something simple enough that your tired mind does not need to argue with it. One page, one sentence, one glass of water, one short walk, one clean corner, one message sent, 1 minute of silence before you start. The action should be small enough to complete, but meaningful enough to point somewhere. That is the balance. Small does not mean random. Small means reachable. When you find the right small thing, you stop waiting for the perfect version of yourself. You begin with the version of yourself who is here now. And that is where real change begins. There is a reason small repeated actions can feel safer than big promises. Your mind is always measuring effort. It looks at a task and quietly asks how much energy it will take, how much risk it carries, and how painful failure might feel. A big promise often sounds inspiring in the beginning, but inside the mind, it can also sound like danger. If you say, I will completely change my life from tomorrow, your mind may hear a long list of pressure. It may imagine all the days you must be perfect. It may remember the times you tried before and stopped. Then the promise begins to feel heavy. This is why a person can feel excited at night and resistant in the morning. At night, change feels like an idea. In the morning, change becomes a physical demand. The alarm rings. The room is cold. The body is tired. The mind wants comfort. In that moment, a huge plan can feel too far away. But one small thing can still feel possible. This is important. The mind does not only need motivation. It needs a path that feels safe enough to enter. A small action creates that entrance. It does not ask the mind to trust a whole future. It only asks the mind to trust the next few minutes. This is why 5 minutes can be more powerful than a perfect 2-hour plan that never begins. When you repeat one small action, you're building a familiar path in the brain. At first, the action may feel like a choice. After many repetitions, it starts to feel like part of the day. The brain likes what is familiar. Familiar things use less energy. They create less inner argument. This is how habits begin to form. Not because you suddenly become a different person, but because the action becomes easier to start. Think about brushing your teeth. Most people do not need a strong emotional reason to do it. They do not need to watch a motivational video first. They simply do it because the action has become part of a normal pattern. Many useful habits can become like that, but they rarely begin that way. They begin as small actions that are repeated, until the mind stops treating them like a major event. This is why consistency matters more than emotional intensity. Emotional intensity says, I feel ready today. Consistency says, I can return even when I do not feel ready. A quiet life change needs that second kind of strength. You may have had moments when you felt a sudden desire to change. Maybe after watching a video, reading something, or feeling disappointed in yourself. For a short time, you felt serious. You made a plan. You imagined a better future. You felt energy. But energy changes. Life interrupts. Stress arrives. Children need attention. Work becomes busy. Sleep becomes poor. Your mood becomes unclear. If your change depends only on that first feeling, it becomes fragile. A small daily action gives change something more stable than mood. It gives it a place in your routine. For example, someone wants to improve English. They imagine studying 1 hour every day. They buy a book, save videos, and plan a full schedule. But after work, their mind is tired. The children are loud. The house needs attention. The 1-hour plan starts to feel impossible. So they avoid it. They feel guilty. Then English becomes connected with pressure. Another person chooses one sentence every night. Just one sentence. They write it, read it aloud, and close the notebook. At first, it seems too small to matter. But because it is small, it survives real life. After a week, there are 7 sentences. After a month, there is a quiet record of effort. More importantly, English no longer feels like a mountain. It feels like something they can touch every day. This is how small actions change the emotional meaning of a goal. The goal becomes less frightening because you have visited it many times. You're no longer approaching it as a stranger. You are building a relationship with it. Self-trust grows in the same way. Self-trust is not built by saying strong words to yourself. It is built when your actions and your promises slowly become closer. If you tell yourself, I will change everything, and then you cannot continue, trust becomes weaker. If you tell yourself, I will do one small thing, and then you do it, trust becomes a little stronger. The mind listens to proof. It does not need perfect proof. It needs repeated proof. This is why the size of the action matters less than the honesty of the action. A small promise kept is more useful than a large promise abandoned. When people hear this, they sometimes think small action means low ambition. But that is not true. Small action is not the opposite of ambition. It is how ambition becomes livable. A big future needs a daily form. Without a daily form, it remains only a picture in the mind. If your dream is to become healthier, the daily form may be a walk after dinner. If your dream is to become calmer, The daily form may be putting your phone away before sleep. If your dream is to become more capable, the daily form may be studying one small section before the day ends. The dream gives direction. The small action gives contact. Without contact, the dream can become painful. You keep looking at it from far away, and the distance makes you feel worse. With contact, even small contact, the dream becomes less distant. You're not just thinking about change. You are touching it. There's also another reason small actions work. They create less resistance. Resistance often appears when the mind feels trapped. If the task feels too long, too serious, or too connected to your identity, the mind may search for an escape. That escape can look like scrolling, delaying, cleaning something unrelated, checking messages, or suddenly feeling sleepy. You may think you're being weak, but often your brain is just trying to avoid discomfort. A small action lowers the discomfort. It makes the beginning easier to accept. Once you begin, the mind often changes. Before starting, the task feels heavy. After starting, it becomes more concrete. You're no longer fighting the idea of the task. You're simply doing the next small part. This is why the first minute matters. The first minute is a bridge between resistance and movement. One small thing every day helps you cross that bridge more often. You do not need to win a dramatic battle with yourself. You need to make the entrance small enough that you can pass through it. Over time, this repeated entrance changes your identity in a quiet way. You begin to see yourself as someone who returns. Not someone who is always perfect. Not someone who never gets tired. Not someone who has no distractions. Someone who returns. That identity is realistic. It can survive bad days. A person who depends on perfection may stop after one missed day. A person who knows how to return can continue after interruptions. This is one of the most practical forms of discipline. Discipline is not always a hard face and a strict schedule. Sometimes discipline is making the next action small enough to repeat. It is choosing a promise that your real life can carry. It is understanding that the mind does not become steady through pressure alone. It becomes steady through repeated contact with possible actions. So when you choose your one small thing, choose carefully. Do not choose it to look impressive. Choose it to be repeatable. Do not choose it from guilt. Choose it from direction. The small things should be something you can do on a normal day, not only on your best day. Because your best day does not need much support. Your normal day does. Your tired day does. Your busy day does. Your distracted day does. The right small action can meet you there. It can say, even today, we can still do this one thing. That one thing becomes a point of stability. And a stable point, repeated over time, can quietly change the way you live. At some point, one small thing stops being only a task. It becomes a direction. This is the shift that matters. If you treat your small action like a performance, you may start judging it too quickly. You may ask whether it is enough, whether it is impressive, whether it is changing your life fast enough. That kind of pressure can make even a small habit feel heavy. But if you treat the small action as a direction, the meaning becomes different. You are not trying to prove your worth through one action. You are choosing where to face today. A compass does not move you across the whole map at once. It only points. But without a direction, even strong movement can become scattered. Your one small thing can work like that. It points your day toward the person you're trying to become. Maybe your small thing is reading one page. That one page is not the whole education, but it points toward learning. Maybe your small thing is cleaning one surface. That one surface is not the whole house, but it points toward order. Maybe your small thing is walking for 5 minutes. That walk is not a complete transformation, but it points toward care for your body. Maybe your small thing is writing down one sentence before sleep. That sentence is not the whole story, but it points toward awareness. The action is small, but the direction is clear. This helps you stop measuring every day by dramatic results. Many people lose heart because they check too soon. They do something good for a few days and then look for a visible change. When they do not see one, they think the effort is not working. But direction often changes before results appear. A seed under the soil does not look active from the outside. The surface may look the same, but something is happening below. Daily small actions are often like that. The outside of life may look unchanged for a while. Same job, same room, same problems, same tired body. But inside, you are practicing return. You are practicing contact. You are practicing keeping a small promise. That matters more than it seems. Imagine a quiet night table. There's a notebook, a cup of water, and a small lamp. The day was not perfect. Some things were delayed. Some words were not said well. Some tasks are still unfinished. But before sleep, the person opens the notebook and makes one simple check mark. They did their one small thing. The check mark does not erase the problems of the day. It does not make life suddenly easy, but it gives the day one clear piece of evidence. Even today, I did not completely abandon my direction. There is a calm strength in that. You may think you need to feel proud every night. You do not. Some nights, you may only feel tired. The small action does not need to create a big emotion. It only needs to keep the line alive. This line is important because life often pulls people in many directions. Work pulls one way. Family pulls another way. Worries pull another way. Phones, messages, bills, memories, and future plans all pull of the mind. Without a simple anchor, the day can scatter you. One small repeated action can become that anchor. It reminds you that even when life is messy, you still have one place to return. This does not mean you must never miss a day. Real life includes missed days. You may get sick. You may be busy. You may forget. You may have a day when the action simply does not happen. The important thing is what you do next. Many people turn one missed day into a story about failure. They say, I ruined it. I always stop. I cannot stay consistent. But one missed day is not the end of a direction. It is only a gap. The next day, you return. That return is part of the habit. In some ways, it is the most important part. Anyone can continue when life feels smooth. But learning how to return after a broken day gives your habit durability. Durability is different from intensity. Intensity burns bright for a short time. Durability stays with you through ordinary weather. A durable habit is gentle enough to come back to even after interruption. This is why your one small thing should not become a weapon against yourself. Do not use it to attack your character. Do not use it to compare yourself with someone else. Do not turn it into another reason to feel behind. Let it be simple. Let it be a quiet agreement with your future. You can say, this is the small way I face the direction I want. When you understand it this way, the action becomes easier to protect. You do not need to explain it to everyone. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to make it dramatic. You only need to keep meeting it. There's a kind of peace in private effort. No one sees every small choice you make. No one sees every time you choose to start again. No one sees the tiny moment when you almost avoid the action, but then do it anyway. But you see it. Your mind sees it. And over time, those moments become part of how you understand yourself. You become less dependent on a perfect mood. You become less frightened by a slow day. You become more familiar with beginning again. This is not a loud kind of confidence. It is quieter than that. It is the confidence of someone who knows they can return to one small thing. That confidence may not appear suddenly. It may grow so slowly that you barely notice it. Then one day, you may realize that your life has shifted a little. You are still yourself, but you face the day differently. You do not need to wait for a new year, a new month, or a perfect Monday. You understand that any ordinary day can hold one small action. That is enough to begin. From there, your direction becomes clearer. You may add another small thing later, or you may stay with the same one for a long time. There's no need to rush. The goal is not to collect many habits as quickly as possible. The goal is to build a life that your real self can continue. A life that can hold tired days. A life that can hold busy mornings. A life that can hold slow progress without giving up too quickly. One small thing every day is not a magic solution. It will not remove every problem, but it can change the way you stand inside your problems. Instead of waiting for the day when everything feels easy, you create one simple point of movement inside the day you already have. That point of movement can become a direction, and direction, repeated quietly, can change a life. So tonight, or tomorrow morning, choose one small thing. Make it clear. Make it simple. Make it possible. Do not choose 10 things. Do not choose the version of your life that only works when you have perfect energy. Choose one thing you can return to. Write one sentence. Read one page. Stretch for 2 minutes. Put one object back. Walk to the door and step outside. Open the notebook. Prepare the cup of water. Start the first line. Let it be small enough to do and honest enough to matter. Then let the day continue. A quiet check mark at the end of the day can be enough. One small thing done with care. One simple direction kept alive. One ordinary day that did not have to be perfect to still move forward.